My mother passing away at the end of my freshman year, that kind of shifted like my trajectory, and I think like my mental capacity to be the best football player I could be.
Mm.
So it's just like a opportunity cost. Sometimes I look at it because maybe if I would have been too focused on football, I probably would have been lost after I graduated, or I wouldn't have been in the right headspace. So
What's up, everybody? This is Off the Field with Isaiah Robinson, where we teach championship mindset to athletes and entrepreneurs, because winning isn't just a goal, it's a lifestyle. What's up, everybody? It's Off the Field with Isaiah Robinson. We got a special one for you guys today. We got another Isaiah Fisher Smith from Duke University. How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Glad for you to be on the show, get to tell your experiences, and just help to give feedback to the audience.
Yeah, I just appreciate the opportunity. I just want to tell you thank you.
For sure. My pleasure. So let's get into it today. Let's talk about your journey from your college career and what were some key moments in your life to make you who you are today.
My college career, I'll be brutally honest about my career.
Mhm.
I feel like I was slightly above average. I would say I wasn't like the best of the best. I feel like I did work hard. That was one of my strengths, but I'm not gonna sit up here and lie to myself.
Mhm.
So I was kind of like, mediocre at times, but I take pride in being a great teammate and great special teams player, being a role player. A lot of people want to be the starter of the defense, but that's not everybody's role sometimes. So you just got to find your role, and I'm comfortable with where my role was at Duke. Yeah, some key moments. I'll say, yeah, like blocking kick. That's like my favorite thing, my forte. I take I take pride in special teams blocking punts. My freshman year, I blocked two and back to back. In my sophomore year, I blocked another one. When I was a grad transfer at North Carolina Central this past year, I blocked the punt against A&T, and that was a big game, big momentum shift. I take pride in that's pretty important. And another thing that I think shaped my career was my mother passing away at the end of my freshman year.
Mhm.
That kind of shifted like my trajectory and I think like my mental capacity to be the best football player I could be.
Mhm.
So it's just like a opportunity cost. Sometimes I look at it because maybe if I would have been too focused on football, I probably would have been lost after I graduated, or I wouldn't have been in the right headspace. So
Mhm.
it's just something that's just a give or take. But I feel like those two blocking kicks and my mother, probably the two big.
Mhm. I'm sorry to hear that about your mom, for sure.
I appreciate that.
Let's talk about that, right? Because everybody's not going to be the star athlete, especially on a college team, you know? So I'm pretty sure you was a star athlete or just had a huge position role in high school. So how was that transition from you from high school, from getting a lot of playing time to being a role player on D1 school?
I'll say early on, a lot of guys, coming in, your head is big and you want to focus on getting on the field any way you can. So, one thing that my coaches in high school like instilled in me when I was younger was being comfortable on special teams.
Hmm.
That's where it starts. You got to prove your worth somehow, some way. So, if you can do your 111 on these 4 or 5 plays, you can go out there for 30, 40, 50 snaps. So, in high school, I had a coach, Coach Meri, and he would just be hard on me about being first down on kickoff and just doing the little things with the most effort, because it's that hard work they was subconsciously teaching me that carried me into college. So when I got to Duke, it's like, all right, I'm back at square zero. Like I have to start over all again. So what did I do at my high school? What did I do at Page? So it was a special team. So I just tried to work hard in the weight room. I took pride in working in the weight room. That was my favorite place to be. All season workouts. That was it. Like that, because you have to love the grind and love the stuff.
Mhm.
I just took pride in the hard stuff, and that I tried to build up on it my freshman year. Like I said, playing special teams and stuff like that. And like after that, that's when my mom passed. So it was kind of like that shift. So
Mhm.
I feel like after that, I was just trying to be comfortable enough to get back to where I used to be, even though I'm not the same person. So
Mhm.
I'm trying to find a new person and find it, but at the same time, trying to get back in my old routine. So it was like a constant like battle within myself, and then like you got school, then you got social life, and you're trying to move up. You're trying to do more than special teams. So it's just a constant fight, and you
Mhm.
just do the best you can at the end of the day.
For sure. So, what are some tips that help you really even get through that journey and that tough time of life, right? Because you have so much stuff going on. The passing of your mother, you still got to get grades to stay eligible. You still got workouts at 3, 4 in the morning. You still not done to your day until 10 o'clock at night. Sometimes even later. So you still got your personal life, like you said. So what are some things that you was doing to balance everything? Like, did you stay isolated? Did you lean on your friends? What are some things that helped you through that tough time?
So I'll say one thing that I did do. I isolated myself. Um, But I'm a people's person. Like I'm not gonna say like I'm popular, but I'm cool. I'm cool with like my friends and stuff like that. I know a lot of people, but it was just like I was checking off boxes. Like it's like space, so stuff like that. So once I really got to myself, like I just tried to decompress and stuff like that and reflect. But at the end of the day, like truth be told, sometimes like I just didn't want to be there. Like I'm not gonna say I wanted to be there, but it was hard. But like, nah, I do not wanna be at Duke sometimes, like, it's hard. Cause me and my mom, like, she was my grandmother adopted me, so she was my mom, I called her my mom. So, like, a part of, like, the reason why I got to do was grind back in my head, falling in love with suffering and hard times, and it was like, I'm going through another hard time, like, tough time, but this time is different from,
Hmm.
like, myself in college, like, growing into a young adult, so it was just isolation sometimes, and when I get breaks, I'll go hang out with my friends, like my homeboys back at the crib from high school. I still hang out with the same friends, and just like having a space to where I can be myself, be comfortable. It was just something that I needed because I'm not going to say like this is how I feel or this is what I'm thinking. It's just
Hmm.
like sitting there, just me being in the presence of like the people that I trust and the people that I've known for years.
Hmm.
So it's just like the small wins, the small victories that I know. Well, back then, like I figured it would help me, but looking back, like it did help. I was right. Just sticking by my friends, and I still thank them. Like I
Hmm.
ran up to say I appreciate y'all, black folks, holding me down, and it's just part of being a friend. At the end of the day, it's they help you down to have my back.
I love it, man. I love it. So, I mean, that's huge, man. Just having people in your corner that sometimes you need yes men, sometimes you need people that's going to know men. So
Right.
just having those certain group of people being in your life and being in your corner is just definitely amazing, especially through the tough times, especially through the good times. So even let's go back to that freshman year, right? Because I'm not sure how your grades were, but some athletes they fall off on their freshman year, and then they have to get back up. Like understand, okay, man, it's more than football. Did you have any struggles in the grades or just anything like that, or anything that you would have done different your freshman year?
I'll say my freshman year, it was COVID
Mm.
too, so 2020. So it was just different. School in itself was just different. So I say for me, it was a little bit more difficult. I wouldn't say my grades were the worst thing in the world, but being a student athlete at Duke, it is like more pressure like within itself. And then I'm an African American male at that. So I feel like it's just twice as much pressure and I wasn't like big on academics in high school either. It was kind of like you either get on the train or let it pass. So I just took advantage of my tutors, my advisor. I had a great advisor, Danny Macklin. That's one of the reasons why I made it through Duke. That's just taking advantage of the resources that I had and really using them.
And that's a rare case, honestly. Like that's special. Like you're special. because a lot of athletes, they don't look at things like that, right? They don't look at the resources that they have really being resources. Sometimes you can just look up and those 4 years of college is gone. It's like, damn, I just wasted so much time. What was I doing stuff outside of sports? Was my grades even good? Like, of course, once you get the degree, you got the degree, but in the meantime, it's all the little skills that you learn that can really help you further in life. Sometimes, like you said, you just got an internship, right? The internship that you have is not the current job that you have. A lot of time athletes don't even do internships, right? So it's just like really taking advantage of the resources that you have to excel you more, to not just be a better athlete, but also be a better person when the real world comes. So as an athlete or a person, have you ever felt like your talents were underutilized?
I feel like that briefly,
Mm,
briefly, after my sophomore year when we got the new coaching staff with Coach Elko in 2022, and then for 2 years after that. But it was really my junior year. I feel like I was the most prepared I was. But when the new coach comes in, they have their own ideas and their own agendas that they're rightfully entitled to. So if my hard work didn't meet their quota, then that's just what it is. But I remember because my freshman and sophomore year, I was blocking punts to that game opener. Like I'm asking the special teams coordinator, can I play special teams? So it's like I'm back. I'm looking at it, I'm like, am I backtracking it? Like, what am I doing wrong? Sometimes like you just realize that you're a part of the business. Like you might not be where you're at. Like you might not like where you're at in the business, but you are a part of the business. So it's just something that you just got to take under the chin. I hope that you can change with your own willpower and your authority. But at the end of the day, like they got to feed their family too.
yeah, so they say control what you can control, right? So what advice would you give to either athletes or just anybody in that was in the position of just feeling like their talents was being utilized to the best of their abilities?
Personally, I think that players and students should really take more accountability within their own academics and their own opportunity because like a lot of the times, like I realized late, like in my junior year, I said, if I don't play, like I'm not like the league is not looking promising. I'm in my junior year. Like I gotta make it something work. Because a lot of times they'll be like, "Oh, you got a scholarship. Oh, you can school for free, stuff like that. You can get a job." But if you're not making it work for yourself, it's posing a like a lot of people, like my brother would tell me sometimes, like, bro, you got a Duke degree, like you good. Like, what you talking about? What you worried about? I'm like, bro, if I didn't do nothing, it's like in the Bible, faith without works is dead. So what in the world am I gonna go out into the real world with this degree that I got just by playing football and just looking in class with my head down, not taking no notes, trying to apply for a job. They're gonna ask me, what did I learn? What did I do? Extracurriculars. I'll be like, well, I play football.
Yeah.
And that's on the fly. Like, I mean, sometimes you might find like somebody be like, okay, we'll take us a former student athlete. Likely of that is slim to none,
Mm.
especially with a lot of college sports in itself is changing. Like different era, like we're seeing a different transition. So with that, it's like the academics is not being preached as much, especially with NIL and advice. I feel like it's just going to be you take this communications class, this psychology class, you take easy A's, a class that's an easy A, and you'll see that you're have a good GPA. That's all that you think you should be concerned about. But by the time you graduate, where are the opportunities? What did I do? Who can I call? So it's like that networking opportunity. It's actually the student using the opportunities rather than just knowing that you can have a chance to do something.
For sure. And that's crazy. I never even thought about it like that, right? You just said on another topic, like another visual of NILs. Because now you got 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds making millions of dollars, right? And I was like, what I need to go to school for? Like, I'm already paid. I can do this, I can do that, right? So now it's going to even diminish their learning even more because now you're living so much in the moment and you're not thinking about the future. Because now it's like, you think this money's going to be coming in forever. Now you think, okay, I'm making this much money. I gotta go to the league. So you don't even think about whether you can get hurt. You don't think about the business that the league in. It's a revolving door because college, you got a little bit more stability than the NFL, right? Like you're guaranteed year to year, of course, but in the NFL, it's also year to year, but they keep you more around in college versus the NFL. You don't do something right, you're gone. So now you have a little bit more stability, you making money, and now it's just like, man, forget school and like forget a lot of things. So now you're even going to miss out on the chance of finding your identity in college because you're just so much into the game, into the money, into the fast life. Now it's just a whole nother aspect that you don't even think about. So now we get into the off the field financial segment. What I found out is that most people are looking for ways to make more money without having to get another job. Off the Field Financial is a financial services agency that specializes in life insurance, annuities, and investments. We teach people like you how they can make more money using our special 4-step system without having to get another job. So these questions are going to be tailored towards the Off the Field Financial, okay? Do you know what the rule of 72 is?
The rule of 72?
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
All right, cool. So 72 divided by the interest rate, and that's how long it's going to take for your money to double. So 72, let's say somebody, you're going to have 2% interest rate, right? So it's going to be 72 divided by 0.2, and that's going to give you 300 years. So the average interest rate in the bank is 2%, right? So it's going to take your money 300 years just for it to double. And you're not even going to be alive to watch your money double. So do you know what the difference between term and whole life insurance is?
Term and whole life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So term is like from a periodic, it's periodically like a point in time, but whole life is that's like your life plan.
Yeah, yeah. So that you spot on right there. So yeah, term is temporary, it expires in the longest 30 years. Whole life, like you said, is for your whole life. But the thing about a whole life is you can build cash value in the whole life. So it's also an investment policy. So a lot of times that's how the rich get richer. Like McDonald's was built off of a whole life insurance. Disney World was built off a whole life insurance. They kept funding the whole life insurance and they can pull from it whenever they want to without having to take a loss, right? So let's say, the best way I could put it is, let's say you have your money in stocks, right? You're guaranteed that you can't take a loss. So they actually invest their money for you into the S&P 500. That's the top 500 companies like Apple, Tesla, and they invested into the companies for you. But they're saying, however, if the stock market does good at 24%, you're going to go up 24%. If the stock market drops 10%, you're going to stay at zero. So you're not going to take a loss. So let's say, this is one of my favorite examples I like to use, right? Let's say you have $100 in the whole life insurance and you have $100 in the stock market, okay? Let's say stock market crashes 50%. Now how much money do you have?
You saying crash go to zero?
You get your money just in a regular stock market, crashes 50%. How much money you got now?
You said crash 50, got zero or half left.
Yep, half. So you're gonna have $50. So let's say the stock market rises back up 50%. Now how much do you have?
You just made a loss.
That's what a lot of people think, but you're going to be at $75 because only 50% of $50. Versus if you had your money into a whole life insurance account, if the stock market crashes 50%, you're going to be at $100. If it rises back up 50%, now you're at 150, while the person that's just had their regular money is at $75. So over time, it creates compounding interest, and now you see a whole different investment return on your investment than you can just in a regular stock market. So that's some financial strategy they don't teach you in school, man. Like I got 2 master's degrees and I didn't learn nothing about finances. So so that's what we big on off the field. Next question: do you have a retirement plan yet? Cool. So also that's what we do. We help people with their retirement plans and just educate them because I know people that's retired at 30 years old. I know some people that's retired at 70. The average age of retirement is 65. But even then, 95% of people aren't ready for retirement when it's time for the retirement age. So that's what we big on. You can be retired at any age as long as your money is set up properly. And that's what we're big on, helping people set their money up properly, not just for 65, but you can be retired before that. So now we get back into the current events. Is Kyron Lacey's career over?
Our Lacey.
Yeah, he's a receiver for LSU. He
Oh,
just
what did he run? Oh, Yeah.
Is this story over? Yeah.
They posting that man with long God rest his soul. That they posted him in his Marine picture and with the picture with the dog. They finna get him.
Oh, it was a dog. It was a dog in the car too with them. So it was a
Now I don't know if it was in the dog. They was like showing pictures of who the victim was. He was a Marine. They just showed a picture of him when he was a Marine and a picture of him when he was with his dog.
So God rest his soul and prayers about the families of who he was, right? But yeah, man. I mean, I just think that speaks on a whole nother level because you see athletes all the time, right? And it's sad to say, but you see it a lot from our athletes, even with the Marquise Brown situation, driving so fast, hit and run, and you just see it over and over again. Is it the fact that they're not being responsible with the money they have, or they feel like they're invincible and they feel like they're at the top of the world, so nothing can really happen to them? What's your take on that?
I feel like it's this new generation of YNs in my
Mm.
it's always in college, like you'll see like with Georgia and now it's at LSU, it's like these schools have these young players drive that drive 100 miles. And I remember it was I don't know if he was from Bama or A&M, but it was a couple years ago. It was one of the I think it was like a DB or something, but he was speeding, but he had like drugs and marijuana on him. If you're a football star and you know you got illegal stuff and you like speeding and driving, like you're not thinking. Like, it's just a lot of times it's just flexing. They don't care. I mean, they living a young hot life. I mean, I don't know.
So, what is some advice that you would give to that young person out there that's just thinking, I'm just trying to flex? Like, you got to be cool to ride around with drugs. Does that make you cool? Like, I feel like that's what they think. It makes them cool. It makes them feel like, yeah, I'm a football player, but I'm also trapping too. So I got the best of both worlds. But it's like with football, you gotta be all in and you gotta be all out. Unless things like that was going to happen easily.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I
Mm.
mean, you're making me feel like real G. Lil Wayne said, "Real G's moving silence like lasagna." Like that's a lost art. A lot of people they so quick to talk or show about something they want, and they'll tell the whole world. But people, real go getters, they not about to tell everybody they plan. They're not going flex. They're not. It's just like when people be posting on social media. Oh, I'm off. I'm on social media. If you the real know what's up, you got my number. But people, if you really about it, you disappear. But
Yeah,
you know,
right.
gotta flex and show off. It's just something. It's a pride thing, ego thing. I don't know.
Wherever G's moving silent like lasagna, you bring it back to the old days. Yeah, I like it. So the LA fires, I keep seeing online that is it real or is it cover up for something bigger? What's your thoughts on that?
I was talking about this with my girl the other day.
Mhm.
I read my Bible. I just got done reading Revelations in the beginning of the year. So I
Mm.
restarted. I'm not saying I'm not rushing to no conclusions. I'm not a lunatic, but I know stuff is not normal. So if it's out of normal to me, and I was raised by my grandmother, Southern Baptist, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking God finna come back. It's just random. I mean, not random, but at the same time, like if you look at well, not look. I just hear people talking about the fires. It's just like a lot of wealthy people and stuff like that. But then at the same time, I was looking on Instagram, like NBC had posted like some of the people. It was early before the casualties had increased, but the people that they were showing that had died from the fires were like African Americans, like old elder like African Americans, and they wanted to go out with their home. They wasn't leaving their home.
Mm.
So it's like half of the victims are wealthy, like the wealthier side of the population. But the people that I seen like that are victims, some of the victims, like they wanted to go with their home. It could be a cover up. I don't know if you
Mhm.
haven't heard about the P. Diddy trial and stuff like that.
Mhm.
That's mental violent. It's just I don't know the world. It's just crazy. I don't
Yeah,
know.
nah, for sure. Nah, it is real crazy because, like, I keep, like you said, like, I see some things online. It's like they telling you, watch out for the fires, watch out for other stuff like that. And then it's like, but then you got you got the people that's actually affected by the fires, like, that's not rich, right? And this is like, there's just so much going on. Like, it's really hard to see, but I really want to see what happens when the smoke clears, you know? Because why is it only touching the rich side of LA and it's not really touching, you feel me? all of LA. So it's just like little questions like that that raises your eye. Makes you
Yeah,
raise
it
your
was, and Biden had put administration, well, not putting his administration, but Biden was saying he's going to send out like $770 to the victims of the family. What is $700 going to do to somebody that lost their home?
right, exactly. Trying to give them a chunk change, like not even a whole $1,000, like
I-
700. Like what?
At least give them a little credit or something. Let's be real.
So it's like you have stuff like that makes you feel like you don't feel for the victims of what's
Yeah.
really going on. So it's like, all right, now, like what's really going on behind the scenes of everything. And I feel like just the new day and age is just we're open. Like Cat Williams said, like this 2024, 2025 is the year of the truth. So I feel like a lot of things is going to be exposed, and some people was talking about the fires before it even happened. So that makes me realize, it makes you think about like, a lot of exposure going to be coming around, but now who knows? So I think that's something we got to wait and see, huh? So the Pittsburgh Steelers, do you feel like they should move on from Mike Tomlin, or do you feel like they should stay?
Man, I was looking when I first heard. I said they want to get rid of Mike. They ain't never.
Right.
I seen this other graphic, man, about all the teams that have been in the playoffs since Mike Tomlin been the head coach for the Steelers. It's like 18. It's like more than half of the teams in the league. And I'm a Saints fan. I seen that the Saints still went to the playoffs before the Steelers did. I don't know. They might need a change. I don't want them to, but it's hard. But I don't know.
And that's how I feel too. Like I'm pro-black, there's not that many black head coaches in there, but it's just like, do we keep giving them up? It's like we know what we want to expect from like after 18 years, It's like, and then sometimes does he need to just replace some talent? Like that's could be Big Ben, it could be, but they had Russ and they had Justin Fields at QB.
But Russ on his last, well, he might be on his last leg.
Nah, he might. He had the same rush for sure. So that could be a problem with the Steelers too. They always like to hang on to people a little bit too long, instead of just cutting them and just finding new talent. So I wonder how much that plays on him or that plays on the players too, because they love Mike and the Steelers nation. So I get it, but it's just like, do you love somebody or do you what's best for them? I feel like that's the real question is what's truly best for them. So the playoffs is coming here. It's on tonight. We got the Chiefs and we got Texans. We got Commanders and we got the Lions. Who do you think is gonna actually win the Super Bowl this year? Who do you think got the best shot to win the bowl?
I want to see Detroit and
the Ravens.
Yeah.
That would be a good one right there. That would be a good one. I gotta have my boys. I'm an Eagles fan, so I gotta have the Eagles in the bowl this year. As long I don't want, I'm tired of seeing. I love Pat. Like I said, he's damn near the next Tom Brady. But I just want to see somebody else other than Pat in the Super Bowl. I don't know if that makes me a hater or not, but I've seen it so many times. Like I don't know.
You're right.
I said, who's gonna be the one to stop him though? That's the real question.
It's supposed to be Lamar having a year MVP caliber.
I love Lamar. And they try to downplay Lamar like he's not doing crazy stuff. Like, if so, he's saying if it's anybody, it's got to be Lamar.
Yeah,
it got to be Lamar. Okay.
This is the year like Lamar Jackson is actually being the Lamar like we didn't expect, but we expected. Some of the people thought he wasn't a quarterback block, so they don't count. But we've been hyping up Lamar, but at the same time, Lamar before this year only had about like 1 or 2 playoffs wins.
I said he couldn't get over that Josh Allen. So who do you think deserves the MVP this year? Who would your vote to?
Josh Allen just has the better record. That's it. But numbers, height, I feel like it's Lamar.
I feel like it's Lamar too. Like he's number one in almost everything right now. Like he's doing stuff I've never seen before. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, nah, it gotta go to Lamar. It got to. I've seen him make a play. He escaped the pocket, ran up, took another 5-step drop back after he already took his drop back, then stepped up again through a dive. I said, what the heck? I was like, ain't no way he just did that. Like, it's just certain things you can't teach, certain things you just.
That's true. His scramble drill, running to the sideline, evading, and you still running to the sideline. Yeah, that you're not supposed to do that.
So now we get to the hot seat questions of the interview. You ready?
I think.
All right, cool. What's the most memorable college football story? Whether it's traveling, whether it's playing, and even off the field, what's your most memorable?
I don't know, man. This is like a college was a great time. Great time. I'll say going to the Kville. It's not really football related,
Mhm.
but like I was with my teammates though, like going to Kville for the Duke and Chapel Hill game, like going through I think what was it? It was like my sophomore year going with my teammates. Great day.
Well, what's Kville?
So it's Coach K. It's like Szewski'ville. I don't know if I'm saying his last name, but in front of like it's like Cameron, and then it's like this rec gym to the left, and it's called Wilson, and then like it's like a whole like patch of land and grass, and they call it Secessieville, Kville.
Okay. So it's like a huge party. All the colleges come together and just
So
turn up.
you know how Duke basketball, like the students will camp. You ever heard of that?
Mm.
So Duke students for the Chapel Hill game, like they'll camp like in Kville throughout like the first half. It's up until the Duke and Chapel Hill game. So the students just camp. They got to take some crazy test about the players,
Wow.
and then somebody has to be in the tent like damn near all times. Like one out of the three, gotta somebody has to stay in the tent, and that's what they do it for. And then other times, like it'll be parties out there.
That's hard. That's hard. Our last question. Who is the true blue down in UNC and Duke?
Duke University.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, I appreciate you, Isaiah, for coming on the show. Anything you want to say to your fans and supporters out there?
No, I just want to tell you thank you again for just having me on this podcast, just reaching out. I'm very appreciative of the space that you gave, and I really like what you're doing with the different aspects of the athletes and just different players that you just have coming in as student athletes. I just love what you're doing. I just applaud you for it.
I appreciate you, Isaiah. You're going to definitely stay in touch, bro. Definitely when I'm down to NC. I was just down to NC last week in Charlotte, actually. So definitely got to catch up when I get down to NC, man. Let's stay connected for sure.